for commercial line. Naramata Station 161, first medical response.
This is the third video for pumping on engine 163. This video will look at drafting supply water from a bladder. The first part of the video will look at the necessary equipment setup, and the second part will show the process of priming the pump. Drafting requires the use of hard suction lines, and engine 163 has 2 of these stored on the driver's side. A sawhorse for the hose is also found in front of the hose bed. The driver's side rear compartment contains a flat strainer to be attached to the hard suction line. The other end of the hard suction is connected to the main suction intake. The flat strainer can be placed in the bladder, and then the sawhorse can be used to keep the suction line from pushing down the side of the bladder. Try to keep this support as low as possible to avoid too much air being caught in the bend of the hose. The final step before priming is to make sure that all cooler valves and drains are closed to properly allow the primer pump to create the necessary vacuum. This includes all drains on the passenger side as well. After engaging the pump, the operator can make one last check that all discharges are fully closed. The main suction can then be fully opened and the air bleed valve closed. Don't overlook closing the bleed valve. If there is any opportunity for air to enter the pump, the primer will not generate the necessary vacuum for priming. The operator can now select RPM mode and pull the primer handle. The primer pump will remove air from the pump and water will be visibly drawn up through the hard suction line. The pump does not need to be throttled up at this stage. While priming, the operator listens for a change in the tone of the primer pump and watches for an increase in pump output pressure to around 40 psi. This should take no longer than 45 seconds. Once prime is achieved, then the pump can be safely throttled up and the first discharge valve slowly opened. An excellent practice to help maintain prime is to establish a dump line back to the bladder. A slowly flowing discharge line will clear small amounts of air. This discharge line can be returned back into the bladder through the drain at the bottom.